Oh shit! Well, you look at that. Researchers discover a virgin birth by a crocodile for the first time. Still reading from allthat'sinteresting.com. Written by Amber Breese, edited by Maggie Donahue. Published yesterday, June 7th, 2023, and it says, the crocodile had lived by herself for 16 years before laying 14 eggs in her enclosure. Zookeepers were shocked to find that some of them were viable. In 2018, zookeepers at a Costa Rican zoo found 14 eggs in the enclosure of a female American crocodile who had lived alone for the past 16 years. And while female crocodiles can lay sterile eggs, the zookeepers were shocked to find that at least 7 eggs were fertile, ABC News reports. When they put the viable eggs in an incubator, only one continued to develop, but eventually stopped. The zookeepers later opened up the egg to find a well-formed, stillborn female crocodile. With news that a female crocodile laid a viable egg without a mate, researchers began investigating. I can only imagine. It's like decades of research about this animal, only to find out that it can actually produce an egg and not have mated. Researchers note that parthenogenesis, or the ability of a female animal to asexually reproduce by mixing her own genes rather than requiring a male's sperm, is present in over 80 vertebrate species, including lizards, snakes, and sharks. But before 2018, researchers had never seen this ability in crocodiles. In a study published in the journal Biology Letters, researchers found that the stillborn crocodile was a parthenogen. The fetus and its mother shared practically identical genotypes, pointing to a very specific reproductive strategy. In a virgin birth, a female fuses its eggs with polar bodies, small cells containing chromosomes. Typically, polar bodies are byproducts of eggs dividing during reproduction and simply wither away. But in animals capable of parthenogenesis, the polar bodies fuse with the dividing eggs, making the foundation for a viable fetus. Interesting. Alright, let's see if we can go down a rabbit hole. Because I would love to understand what parthenogenesis is. Or have like a more in-depth explanation as to what it is. Okay, this is a TED Ed. Hopefully it doesn't have like copyright music and we can watch the whole video. It says, nature has plenty to teach us about making do without a mate. This was written by Philip Lamb, published in Scientific American. Cool.
In 2021, workers at a Sardinian aquarium were stunned by the birth of a smooth-hound shark, who they called Ispera. What shocked them was that for the last decade, Ispera's mother had been living only with other females. But it's actually entirely possible that Ispera had no father. And the reason why that is also explains other biological curiosities, like the existence of an all-female lizard species. Usually, sexual species have sex cells that contain half the number of chromosomes required to create a viable embryo. So, an egg cell must be fertilized by a sperm cell to form 2 full sets of chromosomes. But some species that have sex cells can undergo a type of asexual reproduction called parthenogenesis, meaning virgin origin in Greek. In parthenogenesis, an embryo develops from an unfertilized egg cell that doubles its own chromosome count. In fact, some animals only ever undergo parthenogenesis, while others can reproduce both sexually and parthenogenetically.
Oh wow, okay.
It's actually more common than previously thought.
Interesting.
More than 80 different sexual vertebrate species, including Komodo dragon.
Sorry, what's the name of No, wait. Okay, sexually and parthenogenetically. Let's see. I'll just have it here so that we'll read about it afterwards. Maybe we can have like a list, or they will watch a video, or we'll read an article about different type of animals that reproduce both what would be considered sexually and asexually. Pretty interesting. Very interesting. I did not know that a zebra shark had that capacity.
Different sexual vertebrate species, including Komodo dragons and certain kinds of turkeys, pythons, and sharks, have surprised us by occasionally reproducing this way.
I didn't know a turkey was involved in that as well. Very interesting.
These discoveries were usually made when females unexpectedly gave birth in captivity. Ispera's birth, for one, may have been the first account of parthenogenesis in smoothhound sharks. Scientists also confirmed that parthenogenesis was taking place in some wild snake populations. But just how many fatherless creatures are running, slithering, and swimming around out there is unknown. It's a tough thing to track without population-wide genetic analyses. So, why is it happening at all? Scientists think parthenogenesis could be evolutionarily beneficial in some contexts because, well, sex can be a drag. Mating and its associated demands and rituals can be time and energy intensive, leave individuals vulnerable to predators, and even be fatal. Parthenogenesis, meanwhile, requires only one parent. Mayflies can sometimes default to parthenogenesis if there are no males available, which is especially handy because they've only got a day or so to reproduce before dying. It can also help rapidly expand a population. In the summer, when food is abundant, pea aphids can rely on parthenogenesis, allowing their population to explode under favorable conditions. And in the autumn, they switch back to sex. But some aphids, katydids, lizards, geckos, and snakes only ever reproduce via parthenogenesis. So, why do other animals bother with sex? Scientists hypothesize that sex makes up for its shortcomings with long-term gains. It allows individuals to mix their genes, leading to greater genetic diversity. That way, when the going gets tough, beneficial mutations can be selected and harmful ones can be removed without ending the entire population. In a parthenogenetic population, on the other hand, individuals can only reproduce using their own genetic material. True. According to a theory called Muller's ratchet, that's not good. The theory predicts that
Muller's... Sorry. It said Muller's report? Muller's ratchets. Okay, Muller's ratchet evolution. So let's see what this is all about. So, reading from Wikipedia, wikipedia.org, it says, in evolutionary genetics, Muller's ratchet, named after Hermann Joseph Muller by analogy with a ratchet effect, is a process through which, in the absence of recombination, especially in an asexual population, results in an accumulation of irreversible deleterious mutations. This happens because in the absence of recombination and assuming reverse mutations are rare, offspring bear at least as much mutational load as their parents. Mueller proposed this mechanism as one reason why sexual reproduction may be favored over asexual reproduction, as sexual organisms benefit from recombination and consequent elimination of deleterious mutations. The negative effect of accumulating irreversible deleterious mutations may not be prevalent in organisms which, while they reproduce asexually, also undergo other forms of recombination. This effect also has been observed in those regions of the genomes of sexual organisms that do not undergo recombination. Gotcha. So basically, I guess in layman's term is sexual reproduction, yes, because it, like the video was explaining, can result in different combinations, whilst asexual reproduction, it's like carbon copies of the one animal that is asexual. So you're just getting a carbon copy of the same thing. Makes sense. Although it does say that it's not very prevalent in those that reproduce asexually, but it says undergo other forms of recombination. Interesting. The more you know. The more you know. Albeit, I did know about the certain animals that don't reproduce sexually, but it's fascinating that there's just a whole science behind it, and there's enough data to be able to create a video like this and give out some great information about it. What a time to be alive, with information so accessible to us. Crazy.